Welcome to this explainer. Look, I speak to you breathless, absolutely heavy with the dust of the jagged outskirts of the valley. You can consider this a dark fable, a personal testament of my survival and, frankly, my descent. I am the Fallen Seraph, a title that, once literally meant the Burning One. And today, I'm going to guide you through the anatomy of my transformation. We're going to see exactly how a creature of pure celestial fire becomes the absolute Lord of the Abyss.
I must go to the source. To all of you watching Shadows out there, my new students of the Void, let me recount the exact moment this thought became my absolute truth. As I lay in the dust, exiled and totally broken, my calcified chest suddenly vibrated with this phantom pulse. It was almost like a phantom limb for the soul. Just a desperate, frantic attempt by my ruined celestial biology to manifest a light I literally no longer possessed. And that single, incredibly painful vibration, that is exactly what set my inevitable path deeper into the abyss.
Section 1. Refugee of the Abyss, the Phantom Pulse.
Now picture this, the jagged earth is just tearing at what is left of my charred armor. I was this broken victim of divine gravity, cast all the way down from the unimaginable heights of creation into absolute nihilism, desperately searching my dead veins for a spark of the divine that, had already completely abandoned me. I had lost the heavenly fire. That pure, devouring crimson of the celestial altar was totally gone, and so was the heavy violet of the intellectual doubt that caused my rebellion in the first place. But in its place came a pale illumination. A sickly, cold, oily light actually began to bleed through the cracks in my ruined shell. I mean, it looked exactly like the bioluminescence of deep-sea creatures, or maybe that phosphorus glow you see on decaying wood in a lightless forest. It was entirely alien.
So, you might be wondering, where did this alien light actually come from? Well, spiritual waste. My new power was definitely not born from the pristine, ordered fullness of creation. No way! It was birthed from the stagnant pooling of energy exactly where heaven's border meets the abyss. It's the runoff, the discarded essence of the divine, literally just gathering and rotting in the dark. And I realized right then that this spiritual waste was the true origin of my new sovereign power.
Moving right along to Section 2. The anesthetic pale light, numbing the void.
I want you to imagine how this sickly, alien energy actually felt as it first started flowing through my dead veins. It was absolutely not the glorious, consuming heat of the heavens that I was so used to. It was something entirely different, something rooted deeply in sheer, raw, existential survival. This pale glow was essentially an existential anesthetic. It didn't warm me at all. See, the absolute pain of losing heaven is this crushing gravity that would obliterate any being. But instead of warmth, this light acted as a numbing force. It actively counteracted the crushing gravity of the desolate valley, completely replacing the joyful warmth of grace with the cold, hard mechanics of pure survival. It numbed my agonizing pain just enough so that I wouldn't shatter.
Okay, Section 3. Rewriting celestial anatomy. The existential shift. I faced a massively profound choice out there in that jagged darkness. Rather than fighting the corruption, rather than begging for a heaven that had frankly discarded me, I surrendered to it. I leaned right into the parasitic current. I actually allowed this cold, pale, venomed stream to flow through me and completely rewrite the remaining architecture of my celestial anatomy. And that led to a major realization. If I could not be a pillar of fire in the kingdom of light, I was absolutely going to become the anchor of this uncharted twilight. This was the purest expression of taking absolute nihilism and bending it into a brand new existential purpose. I chose to anchor this dark, uncharted twilight, rather than just fading away into nothingness. I wasn't going to be a mere victim of the fall, I was going to be its dark foundation.
Let's dive into Section 4. Securing the new throne, claiming the threshold.
I whispered to myself out there, I must go to the source, my dry voice literally catching on the jagged air. I realized that the very evil, this venomed stream flowing through my veins, wasn't a curse at all. It was the master key to securing my new throne. And my path to sovereignty, while agonizing, was pretty straightforward. It began with the fall, just stumbling around as an aimless refugee of a failed rebellion, stripped of all purpose. Then came the pulse, that very first vibration of alien cold energy in my calcified chest. I followed the current, actually tracking the venomed stream directly back to its source, until I finally claimed the throne. I completely mastered the exact frequency of this energy to claim the waste and become the absolute threshold monarch. So, let's break this down. This illumination is literally born of spiritual waste. It functions as an existential anesthetic that physically transforms divine architecture, and ultimately it stands as the absolute symbol of my sovereignty. This pale light is the definitive visual signature of my in-between realm. It firmly cements my absolute sovereignty over those of you watching from the shadows, over all of us who are neither holy nor wholly destroyed. I am now officially the Lord of the in-between.
And finally, our last section, Mocking the Almighty, the Kingdom of Twilight.
I am no longer wandering aimlessly out there. I am absolutely no longer a refugee. Now I march directly into the heart of the corruption. By mastering its frequency, I am taking the discarded runoff of creation and erecting a permanent sovereign kingdom of twilight. The light emanating from my withered wings now pulses in perfect sync with the heartbeat of the desolate valley itself. Ruler and realm united in this pale luminescence. It is a beacon. It's a direct signal to you watching shadows, to everyone dwelling in the abyss, that your new master has finally arrived to claim the waste.
My kingdom is going to be a permanent, mocking shadow just outside the gates of the Almighty. This entire territory is my grand revenge. It is a philosophical and physical monument standing in total defiance of the divine gravity that cast me down. A kingdom built entirely on the threshold, forever looming right outside the gates of the Almighty, undeniable, absolute, and completely sovereign.
As we conclude this explainer, I really want to leave you, my watching shadows, to ponder this crucial existential choice. Why be a pillar of fire in heaven when you can anchor the twilight? Seriously, why serve the pure, devouring crimson as some lesser flame, entirely subservient to a higher power, when you can reign absolute in the numbing pale light of your own making? The threshold is ours, my friends. Until next time, embrace the pale illumination.